Welcome to Jordan Drew, the Sports Crew, the EWC basketball breakdown. We're on the February 8th edition now of it, episode 2, really, of this breakdown. It's that weekly series that Jordon Lawrenz debuted last week, and it was just him. But this week, it's myself, and we got Robert Shimmick on, too. There's a big game. So there's some multiple big games we have to talk about that occurred last week, and we got to talk about them. So, Robert, how you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, a lot of EWC action, couple surprising scores in both boys and girls. So, yeah, ready to break it down, and not too long of an episode, but yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. I'm excited.
Exactly. So let's start on the girls' side here. We got scores then from last Tuesday's games, the one Jordan was previewing. So just two non-con games on the slate for Tuesday, February 1st. Kiel wins over Plymouth 57-43, and then Kewaskum beats New Holstein by 5, and that wraps up the girls for that Tuesday. And then we had the Thursday games as well, the 3rd. So there's a conference action that took place. Brilliant, they beat Roncalli by 26, 59-33. New Holstein, they beat Chilton by 11, 57-46. Kiel, the Raiders, they beat the other Raiders of Two Rivers, 66-48. And then here's a surprising one that many would have not thought. Sheboygan Falls, they beat Valders by 11, 46-35. So, Robert, we talk kind of about Valders, being in the middle of the conference, and Sheboygan Falls being near the bottom. So, you'd have to, that was a shocker there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Valders, the one game I watched them, they did impress me a little bit. I obviously haven't watched them too much. Sheboygan Falls, I watched them a couple of weeks ago. They actually impressed me. I mean, is it Schlewy from Sheboygan Falls? She's a freshman. She's like 6'2". When she gets more comfortable, I mean, she's already very good, a very good player. But when she gets more comfortable down the stretch here, and when she gets older, you're talking about junior and senior, I think it's her conference. I mean, obviously you don't know what other teams are going to bring up, but she really impressed me. She's a really good player. And yeah, I mean, so this Sheboygan Falls team, that's something to be excited about. They got a really good player coming up, and yeah, I mean, obviously anything can happen as we see in basketball, and it's just like, it's not, I mean, at Sheboygan Falls, not an easy place to play, but yeah, they looked like they were the better team there. I mean, winning by 11 against Valders. I mean, Valders is middle of the pack. I still think they win most of the time against Falls, but that was a nice win for the Falcons.
For sure. And yeah, you mentioned the inexperience, and over time they're going to have experience. So things are looking up, I think, in the years to come for the Sheboygan Falls Falcons. And let's preview tonight's games. Some conference action. All teams are in action here. Chilton, they had to Roncalli to face the Raiders, or face the Roncalli Jets, my bad. And then here it is, the Kiel Raiders, they had to New Holstein. So a battle of the two of the teams in the conference, in the upper tier there at New Holstein. That's going to be a good game. And then Sheboygan Falls, they travel to Two Rivers. And then to wrap it up, Valders, they go to Brilliant to face the Lions. So the Brilliant Lions, they're looking to avenge the boys' team's recent loss to Valders there, Robert. So that kind of wraps up the girls' games occurring right now. And then we can kind of touch on the conference, stat leaders. Right now we got Grace Shizzle, 24.9 points a game, leading the conference. And then Olivia Hurl, 24.6 a game. Then we got Megan Schumann at 18. Emma Alderman, 15.9. And then Allison Kekis at 15. And then for rebounds per game, Olivia Hurl, 9.7. Peyton Grenzer, 9 on the dot. And then Allison Kekis at 8.2. And then assists, Alyssa Wolfel, 4.6. Olivia Hurl, 3.6. And then, Laura Slickman also at 3.6. So for the stats there, Robert, and we got to kind of talk then briefly here with the girls. The whole player of the year thing, right now, it seems like Schumann's out of it. And then it's really Shizzle versus Hurl. And I want to hear your opinion and you weigh in on what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, for me, my pick is firmly Olivia Hurl. I don't see how she doesn't win this. First of all, I just think, she's a senior. That gives her a little leeway. She's leading the conference in rebounds too, and she's second in assists, so she does it all. this Chilton Tigers team is playing really well. They didn't. What did you say? They lost to New Holstein by like 11.
Yeah. Yep.
That I think I saw highlights in the news of that game. That game was pretty close throughout. I think she was 3 for 4 in that game behind the arc. She does it all. I mean, Grace Shizzle, very nice player. I watched her play at New Holstein versus Brilliant a couple of weeks ago. But Brilliant, yeah, they didn't have Megan Schumann in the second half, and New Holstein, the entire second half, Megan Schumann wasn't out there, left in like the first possession with an injury. It didn't matter. Brilliant still beat them. Shizzle wasn't great in that game. Like she wasn't bad. She had like 15, 13 points, so about 10 under her season average. But yeah, I think with Grace Shizzle, this comes down to maybe a lot of inflated stat lines. I mean, I've watched a couple games now where it's just like, yeah, there's 4 minutes, it's just bombs away. So I think she gets a lot of her points that way, where it's kind of running up the score, it's kind of not, and I think that's kind of has to be kept in mind too. Olivia Hurl, they're not in a lot of blowout games, and they're in the middle of the pack there, but she's really elevated this Chilton team, and she's had some monster games. So I think it's easily Olivia Hurl, and I would be shocked if she wasn't the player of the year.
Yeah, you bring up some great points there, and also looking in the stats, like, look, she's in all 3 of the main stat categories. She's first in rebounds, second in assists, or tied for second in assists, and then second in points. So just an overall all-around player, you could say, for Olivia Hurl. And then you mentioned her being a senior. And then the one thing, that leans Shizzle's way, of course, is team record, as we know, with the New Holstein Huskies being 17-4 overall, 9-2 in conference. But I think the numbers that Olivia Hurl putting up, regardless of the records, I think still need to be valued more. And she's been putting up these insane numbers all year. I believe start of the year, we saw her averaging 30 a game, and that was something that really caught people's eyes. And I think her right now, conference player, I'm with you on that for sure. I think those 2 though are like top 2 in the conference. Easily unanimous first teamers. Yeah, of course Schumann as well with that. Yeah, I don't think it's close, but so those 3 there, all great players, but right now, yeah, Olivia Hurl, conference player of the year for sure. Do we know what she's doing for college plans?
I know she hasn't, I don't know, offer what the right word, but I know like WLC.
Okay.
I know she has like a whatever offer there. She could play there if she wanted. Not sure where else she could go, but yeah, I mean, you got Ryan Breckel.
Yeah, I was just going to mention it.
Some nice games. He's playing some nice games at WLC, and that's a former Chilton grad. So maybe that she sees him having some success there that impacts her decision. But yeah, definitely is a college player, probably at the D3 level. And yeah, she could play just a lot of places in D3 at least.
For sure. So that kind of wraps up on our girls talk. And now we're going to transition here to the boys. We're going to talk about games that took place last week, the ones that Jordan previewed. We'll read you the scores here. So we'll start then on that Tuesday, February 1st. There's some non-con games that took place. We saw Valders. They got their first non-con win, 70-63 over Kewanee at Kewanee. So that's a big win for them. Brilliant. Then they beat Shiocton 77-57. Laconia they beat Falls. They beat them by 15 there, 53-38. Denmark over Roncalli, 50-43. And then Winnebago Lutheran lost to Kiel 70-67. So Kiel gets the win there. And Robert, you said that Shiocton Brilliant game was kind of close. It was a little bit of upset watch to start, right?
Yes, Shiocton came out. They had 14 threes in the game. Dawson Schmidt, really nice player, averaging about 26 points a game. Yeah, Shiocton just likes to run and chuck. They got hot in the first half, and it was about a 5-point game at half. Brilliant, I would say, was still in control pretty much the entire first half. And then, yeah, they just pulled away. Jeremy Lorenz had 29. He did his thing. Caden Holly had 20. Parker Brown had double digits. He did his thing also. So, yeah, they just kind of pulled away there. But the other score I want to talk about was the WLA one.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it was.
I'm telling you what, that was late game heroics pulled off by the Kiel Raiders. I believe they were down like 11 with maybe 1:30 left to go in the game. And Braden April, freshman who's really high on my list. I really like him. He made some great plays. Pierre Sarnes had some late game heroics. they cut the lead. They tied them up in regulation, went to overtime, pulled away for the win, and great win for the Raiders there. Yeah, I mean, that's just an impressive. That just shows you what kind of Kiel can do. I mean, they're never out of it. They always can, hit some shots, make some things happen. And, yeah, definitely a big win for them. And Pierce Arntz, got maybe a little criticism, maybe. He shoots a lot, but on our earlier podcast. But, I mean, he's been having huge games, not just in the points, but, like, I believe last game he had 6 assists, 8 steals.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's really, he's leading the league in assists right now. He had 7 rebounds also, which for his size at about 5'8" is very impressive. But I mean, he's easily back in my top 5. I think he's easily a first team all conference player. Not that really was ever a debate, but he's been playing very well, and he does a lot of things good for them. And he makes a lot of plays that maybe don't show up in the box score.
Yeah, I point to when Jordan and I we were on air on WOMT for that Roncalli Kiel game. That's kind of watching him play in person. We kind of saw him. He forced a couple shots, but hey, it really made a lot of good decisions and really limited contested looks that he usually we might see him take at the start of the year. So credit Pierce Arntz really has now controlled that, and we've kind of seen what happens then. All these assist numbers, and he was still getting assists at the start of the year, but just getting the teammates more involved. That's really made this Kiel team a bigger threat than they have been. Because think about it, they were like one possession really away from either maybe beating Roncalli or taking that game to OT. So they're certainly no joke there for the Raiders. But let's talk then those Friday games now, Robert. Friday the 4th. Some good stuff happened this day. We'll start, though, with Chilton over New Holstein. They beat them by 10. And then Roncalli, they beat Falls 57-35. Kiel, then they take care of TR just fine, 65-34. And then here's the one that I love to see. Valders beats Brilliant at home, 60-58. So, yeah, we talk about Valders being a tough place to play at always. There's always a banana in the student section. Shout out Clay Taylor this year, taking over that and really making, tough place to play. And, hey, Valders got the job done, Robert. So this is kind of the game we're going to be focusing on a lot, with it being both of our kind of alma maters here. So let's talk about it, Robert. I know you were watching a lot of it. I was able to catch the game as well. So, Robert, I want to hear your first thoughts, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, my first thoughts, obviously, when a team is 18-0, you're playing for that, or 15-0. When you start racking up and you don't lose for the first couple months of the season, you're playing for that perfect season. You're playing, or that perfect regular season. You're playing to win every game, obviously, and win as much as you can. And yeah, Brilliant. And with that being said, when teams come in, they know you're undefeated, and they're going to practice a little harder. They're going to scout a little better. They're going to play a little harder in the games. And what I saw in this game was Brilliant just turned the ball over 13 times. I mean, that's not like very horrible. It's not very good either. They turned the ball, and a couple costly turnovers late. Trey Schneider had a steal, I remember, in an open floor. And just a couple of plays were made by Valders where they got some turnovers, a 5-second call on the perimeter. And they just kind of hung around the entire game. Because put it this way, Brilliant, in my eyes, was in control the entire game. And they were up 9 at one point in the second half. And just like the first time they played, I thought, okay, well, this game, they get 2 more stops, they score again. I think this game's over. And that's just kind of what I thought. But Valders just hung around. And if you look in the box scores here, Brilliant only made 2 3-pointers. And their game plan obviously is to just bury people in the lane and just dominate in the lane. And they did that for the most part, but probably not like that. They didn't really do it as effectively as they did, against maybe a Roncalli or in some other bigger games that they did this year. They had 22 rebounds, and Valders had 20. And so that's usually Brilliant's out-rebounding teams by about, 10 to 20 rebounds a game. as crazy as that is. And they only out rebounded them by 2. So I just think those turnovers and the rebounds, that was a big part. Brilliant really didn't pull away in those areas where they're good at. And then it just came down to good 3-point shooting from Valdez. And, Valdez is a team I talked all year that, their record's really not accurate. They kind of had some they have very tough non-con schedules. They always do, playing, Freedom, Green Bay East, Xavier, several teams. And, then they played Sheboygan Lutheran the next day.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you come to that, you add all those things up, they just came out, and Jackson Olsen had some big shots. Jackson Olsen, he's more of a 3-point presence now. That's the main focus of his game, and he really stepped up and hit some big shots. Hit one at the halftime horn, too. So, I mean, that all things considered, that's kind of where I'm at in this game. And it's just, it sucks for Brilliant, great for Valdez, and I mean, I want to say this: both teams, I think, can learn from this game. I mean, Valdez, they learned they can compete with a lot of teams out there. They're just as good as they were, or probably better than last year. They can beat a lot of teams. And then Brilliant, you take a loss from this game and maybe you just take a step back. Okay, now we have to really refocus on like who we are, see what went wrong and just learn from the game and better yourself from it.
Yeah, I want to talk kind of about let's look like the last 6 meetings between these two teams. They've all been close, Robert. It's all been, if you think about it, they've all gone down to the wire. That's just Valdez. They always play Brilliant tough. Even if the games, or if the rosters like this year, Brilliant's got the better roster, yet we still see them play them tough. And even last year we saw Valdez hang in there both times against Brilliant. Even that second meeting going to overtime. So I just think the playing at home against Brilliant, plus just the way Valdez matches up against Brilliant, like they're just gonna shoot more threes than Brilliant did. And yeah, Brilliant, like you said, only making 2. That kind of played a part here. And then also, a guy who we saw step up in the Roncalli game, Grady Geiger, only finishing with 9, 3 for 8 shooting. I think that's a guy, you'd want to score more. And I think to win, I think that was something you might need if you're Brilliant. But what a performance by Valdez. We talked about Jackson Olsen, a guy who is a top player in the conference, who we just want to see more, maybe back post up action and all that such. But like watching him shoot, and he played well offensively this game, and that was a big difference for Valdez. And now we actually saw him sneak into the scoring leaderboard in conference. Now he's at 5th right now, and then also Cole with 15.1 as well. Yeah, now having 2 guys in there for Valdez, just a balanced scoring attack there. And then really to end the game, we saw Shane Griepentraw get fouled, and he sunk 2 clutch free throws, and that got the job done. Shout out to Valdez live stream by ending the stream with the ball in the air. That can't happen. That is, talk about a bad ending. That was a bad way to end for the Valdez live stream, but.
All of the others was at the game probably, so they didn't miss too much of their fans. That was a packed house, and shout out to the Valdez fans for making that a rowdy place to play. That definitely played an impact in the game.
Oh, for sure. And Trey Schneider, you said he came up with some big plays at the end. Really some impact plays there for Trey, and also guys like Mason Myers, and came up big. Shane and Brady, those 2 guys. Especially Shane with those 2 free throws near the end there. But, Brilliant also, they committed 20 fouls in the game. And that
very uncharacteristic.
That was something I thought right away. And a lot of people point to the refs. I saw there were some tweets with some upset fans. But I don't know what you want to make of that. I know you mentioned to me that these were the same officials, I believe, from the Brilliant Sheboygan Falls game last year, right?
Yeah. And the reffing didn't have. I mean, Valdez won the game. Yeah, was it borderline at the end? Some might say that. Valdez won the game. They made the bigger plays at the end. Brilliant didn't deserve to win. You put yourself in that situation. You gave them the ball. It was a close play. Could have gone either way. It happens. You just can't put yourself in that situation. You can't leave it in the hands of the officials. So I don't think really there was any problems with the reffing. Valdez deserved to win that game, and they did.
That's what I want to hear, Robert. I want to make sure you're not a part of the brilliant fan base that thinks this game they were robbed of. Yeah, I think Valdez they played well enough. They were the better team this very night, and they got the job done. They win by 2. And Jeremy Lawrenz, though, I still want to talk about him. He still played incredible.
Tough,
that was one of the best games I've seen him play this year, I might say, because a close game. It was just they give him the ball down the stretch. He would make basket after basket. That fadeaway he made was tough.
And, he almost hit the rafters, and I think it barely got in, but that was a tough shot.
And then they put him to the free throw line. That's a guy, 10 of 12 he made. That's one guy, you really don't want to put to the line. Of course, Braun and Holly fall under there as well, but wow. He certainly, lived up to all the expectations, all the hype, I'd say. So, it's not really a game. I really would be not worrying after this game if I'm Brilliant. You're bound to lose one. There's always that saying, there's one night a year where something's not going to go right, and I think this was Brilliant's night. Not much really, and you could say, not everything went right. And at the end of the day, they lost, and all you got to do is just like you said, regroup. And hey, they got to look for bigger and better things today. First, got conference to focus on, and then playoffs. So those are coming up soon, Robert. So our end of the year stuff might be coming very, very soon.
Oh yeah.
Because state basketball is, a month and a half away only now. So March 17th through the 19th, I believe. So that's going to be some exciting times, and we'll be sure to break it down all here on the podcast. But
hopefully we can get at least walking to state. I think, obviously Brilliant and Roncalli both have a chance, but it'd be cool if we could get at least a team to state.
For sure. It always looks good for the conference. And now let's talk some Tuesday games. Now here we got some non-con games, and on the Tuesday slate, Shayokton, they go to Chilton, and then we have Waupun and Valdez. So Waupun heads to Valdez. They've played the last few years now. The most notable one was when Marcus Damask, he came to Valdez to play the Vikings. That game was, not really an ideal final, but you got to see Marcus Damask, a D1 player, play at Valdez. So that was some cool stuff. But Thursday games, here we go. We got some conference action here. Chilton, they go to Brilliant. Valdez, they head to Kiel. That should be a good one. That's my game of the week. I'll tell you that right now. Sheboygan Falls, they go to New Holstein, and then Two Rivers, they go to Roncalli. So what do you think, Robert, for you on which game you're picking as your game to look out for tonight?
Well, it's obviously Valdez. Yeah. Valdez Kiel. I mean, Valdez had a big one. Obviously, we saw the final Saturday, and that game was just a tough game. Not a lot went right for them, but they come back and they face Kiel, they're only one game back at Kiel, and Valdez, this maybe isn't like their best season, or maybe isn't, but they're having a really good year in conference still, 7-3, and lost to Kiel, Roncalli, and Brilliant.
Yep.
So they lost to good teams, and so I still think, they beat Kiel here, then they'd be tied with Kiel for third, and if you take third in the conference, that's just right where I predicted them to finish. I think they are capable of getting there. They're still pretty close with Kiel, but other than that, I mean, Two Rivers Roncalli, we know how that one's going to end. Brilliant Chilton. Chilton's kind of a sneaky team, but Brilliant hopefully will take care of business there. And Sheboygan Falls, New Holstein, that's very interesting. I'm actually kind of interested who wins that one, just because those are the two bottom teams, 2-18 versus 1-18. So that one will be a good game. So that's probably my second game of the week. But Valdez and Kiel, that'll be a good one at Kiel. Look for Pierce Arntz to get his, and look for hopefully Jackson still shooting well and Cole to get his. So
Cole's dropping 30, right? It's gonna happen. Valdez is gonna get that, and
30 would be 30. That would be awesome for Cole Hovey, but I don't think he don't think he shoots enough for that.
I think he might. It's always possible, but yeah, you mentioned that Lutheran Valor's game. We talked about on the podcast, episode 47, I believe. The toughest back-to-back. This is as tough as it gets, right? You host you host undefeated Brilliant, and then you get that win, which was we got to celebrate that night, which was great. And then you go next day you go on a bus and you go to Sheboygan Lutheran to face the Crusaders. You get to face Verhagen's team, and wow. We'll keep it brief. I told some of the Valor's guys. We'll try not to talk about the Saturday
final if you don't want.
Yeah. We won't read that. We want to talk more about the Friday one, the thrilling one, not what happened Saturday. But yeah, Thursday slate looks good, and then we have another non-con. We got some Saturday to wrap it up. The 12th, Sheboygan Falls. They head to Wrightstown, and then we have Lil Shoot. They go to Roncalli, so that should be a nice game there for the Jets, hopefully. And yeah, Robert, anything else on this breakdown?
Not much. It looks like another good week here. It would have been last night's game on when this episode is airing on Tuesday. Waiwega Fremont goes to Brilliant. That's a get right game, hopefully for Brilliant and TI over Southern Door. But yeah, other than that, not too much else. I think we covered it pretty much all. And yeah, I mean, right now, I think, obviously you got your top four in the first team all-conference player. I think the fifth spot I would put in Parker Brown right now, but I think it's still up for debate. I think those four are definitely my top four players in the conference. It's close. Hovey, I solidified Hovey as my third just because I just like how he's just cool, calm, and collected. And
yes.
Nothing really phases him. So I think he's just a really mentally tough player, and maybe he's not the most gaudy or the flashiest player, but yeah, it's something to be said about late game or whatever. Even though I think he fouled out, another impressive feat that Valdez overcame. Yeah, I think he just still is really calm and just manages the game well. So yeah, I definitely think that fifth spot's up for debate yet, and we'll see kind of who finishes first, where the teams fall out, and then I think it'll be a decision to be made there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Exactly. You mentioned top four, bottom four, and hopefully we can see Valor's creep up, have two teams tied for third, and then right now we're waiting for that Brilliant Roncalli matchup round 2, right? I think that's kind of what we're waiting for. That really will decide, it seems, conference here.
Yeah. And I think Roncalli, from what I heard, they had some guys really not playing too well lately, and at Sheboygan Falls, some stuff happened, and Luke Pulch, what you're going to get from him, so he's playing well still. And I think Brilliant, they just have to do the same thing they did, just dominate inside. Obviously, we talk about Valor's tough place to play. Jet Hanger's just up there as well, too. In that one, hopefully it's a sold out or almost sold out crowd, and we get a good one for that. But and I forgot one last thing before we wrap it up. I did not bring up the Grant Munz having 27 boards. That's the new conference record. He beat his old record, but 27 in a game, that's impressive.
Yeah, that was the night, like you mentioned, Arns had 8 steals. So talk about crazy stat lines the Raiders are putting up. Wow. I did see that. Yeah. So congrats to Grant Munz on another, stellar stat, breaking his own record. But
yes.
So with that, then check out, EWC_sports for all that EWC content. We saw Robert post. We saw some wrestling content be up, which was good to see. Of course, we post some cross country stuff and also scores and all that good stuff will be on the story like usual. So yeah, with that, thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.